Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit and another episode of What Are We Eating? Fork tender Salisbury steak with rich brown gravy, that's my definition of comfort food. But everyone doesn't always have the time for a home-cooked meal and they resort to something quick and convenient and head down the frozen food aisle. If they're in Walmart, they might pick up this great value Salisbury steak and potatoes meal for $1.97. So if they did happen to pick this meal up, let's see what they would be eating. The first thing I immediately noticed looks different is the picture on the box. Most frozen Salisbury steak dinners have the blah mashed potatoes and corn. This has the roasted russet potatoes and cheesy broccoli and cauliflower. Now this is not a huge meal at 10 ounces, so it may be a good idea to get another vegetable, salad, or a roll or two. Now let's go over the ingredients, and I've read through them several times now, and I do not see any added source of protein like textured vegetable protein, whey, etc. That immediately makes me happy and hopefully no spongy meat. But that doesn't mean there's no fillers, because there are, in the flour and breadcrumbs. But that's okay with me, because I put breadcrumbs in my Salisbury steak too, but probably way less than what's in here. The first ingredient listed is beef, and you would hope that's good quality cuts of beef, but I wouldn't bet on that. Not for a meal that costs $1.97. I guess as long as the meat came from a cow or a steer, regardless of the part, they can call it beef. There's still a lot of ingredients after you break everything down, but not near as many as there were in the recent Hungry Man garbage I tried. Is that ridiculous or what? Now onto the nutrition facts, and the calories are low for a meal serving. The total fat is reasonable, the saturated fat is fairly high for such a small meal. But hey, when you have real meat and no added soy products, that's what you get, and I'm good with that. But then we see the very bad 1 gram of trans fat, which is notorious with processed foods. These trans fats lower your good and raise your bad cholesterols. But then I saw something I don't recall seeing in previous foods, poly and monounsaturated fats, which both, in moderation, are good for you and lower your cholesterol. Very interesting. Everything else seems pretty acceptable except the sodium, which as expected is pretty high at 970 milligrams. The shelf life is fairly short, so eat it quick. When I took it out of the box, it didn't look like anything special, kind of like the food was just dumped in and sealed up. Who am I kidding? We all know that's how it was packed. There's oven and microwave directions.
But ain't nobody got time for an oven.
So I followed the microwave directions and cut a slit in the plastic and placed it into the microwave for 5 minutes. I did not rotate since my microwave has a turntable. After heating on high for 5 minutes and resting for another minute, our Salisbury steak dinner was ready. And it was actually smelling pretty darn good. Once I started mixing everything around, I found a pretty generous piece of Salisbury steak under everything. Unfortunately, a small part of it overcooked a bit. But that's nothing gravy can't take care of if it's any good. The potatoes, they were okay, nothing really special, and a little dry, kind of like I expected, but again, a good job for the gravy. The broccoli, I cannot stand frozen broccoli to begin with, but when they give you the stalks, it makes me angry. But again, I took my meds today, so I'll be okay. The cauliflower, however, was pretty good. Now would someone please explain this to me? Cauliflower costs more than broccoli, but they give you the florets of the cauliflower and the stalks of the broccoli. Shouldn't that be the opposite? Now it was time to dive into the main course, the Salisbury steak, and it did have a meaty texture when I cut it with a knife. Good sign. And I'm still learning this new camera, so if the food goes all over, I'm sorry. Please bear with me. The flavor and the texture of the Salisbury steak was actually surprisingly good. I mean, like so good, I wanted some more of it. And just like the Boston Market pot roast meal, I liked this one enough, I ate the whole thing. And that's pretty unusual because I usually just take a bite or two for the purpose of the video and then toss the rest. I'm not poisoning my Adonis looking body. This body was built on Budweiser, that's a lot of hard work. Of course it's not like homemade Salisbury steak, but for $1.97 and it's ready in 5 minutes, it's a darn tasty deal. But like I said in the beginning, don't expect to get full off of this. I definitely give this a solid 6 points out of 10, and probably another half if the vegetables are just a little bit better. This was definitely a shocker for me, much better than I expected. Thank you all very much for watching. I would definitely recommend picking one of these up and giving it a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.